From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxton Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Morning, everybody. We're going to kick off this morning's meeting with a salute to the flag led by Bill Walker, Director of Mental Health Department. Please remain standing after our salute for a moment of prayer, silence, and meditation.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let me shut off my phone here. Okay, we're going to start off this morning with a review of the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA above the item number are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the board or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anybody, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So going through the agenda under resolutions, proclamations, items 1 and 2. Public requests are items 6, appointments 7 and 8. Department requests, agriculture and measurement standards 11. Airports, number 12 is going to be revised to read proposed contract number 16017 with Griffith Company for Meadowfields Airport runway 12 left 30 right rehabilitation phase 2 project in an amount not to exceed $13,499,431. And that will remain on the consent agenda as item number 12. Animal Services, item 13, Auditor Controller, County Clerk, 14 through 26. Clerk of the Boards, 27 and 28. County Council, 29 through 33. District Attorney, 34. Employers Training Resource, 35 through 40. Fire Department, item 42. Human Services, 43 through 48. Library, 49. Mental Health Services, 50 and 51. Probation, 52, 53, 54. Public Health Services, 55 to 58. Emergency Medical Services Division, 59. Environmental Health Division, 60. Retirement, 61. Sheriff, items 63 through 66. And Veteran Services Department, 67.
Mr. Chairman, can I read a correction into the agenda? Yes. On item 12, airports, the item recommendation needs to be revised. The item is to be continued to Tuesday, September 13th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so item 12, we're just going to add what I read and add continued to Tuesday, September 13th, 2016 at 9 a.m. Does anybody wish to pull any of these agenda items off the consent agenda? Now's your chance.
Number 12 and number 42.
Okay, number 12 and number 42. Anybody else? I'll bring it back to the board for comment, questions, and a vote.
Motion on consent.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Brings us to item number 3, proclaim September 5th through the 11th, 2016 as Workforce Appreciation Week in Kern County. Supervisor Scrivener.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to approve.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Hey, good morning. It's great.
Hi, Kareem. Kareem.
Kareem Crack, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Hi.
I'm Zach.
Making you yours.
Nathan, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Brandon.
Hey, what's going on? How you been? Good. How are you? Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. It's my pleasure to be before you here today. I have Teresa Hitchcock, who, as we all know, heads up our Employers Training Resource through the County Administrative Office. The first Monday of September is observed as Labor Day. Created by the labor movement in the late 19th century, Labor Day became a national holiday in 1894. It constitutes a yearly national tribute to the social and economic contributions and achievements of American workers as a workman's holiday, in recognition of all they have done to build strength, prosperity, and well-being of our country. The first Labor Day was celebrated on Tuesday, September 5th, 1882 in New York City. It has henceforth been celebrated each year with parties, parades, and athletic events while symbolizing the end of summer for many Americans. Employers Training Resource, proud partners of America's Job Center of California, provides local workforce development services to over 20,000 job seekers annually and hundreds of employers. America's Job Center of California offers employer recruitments, job fairs, resource rooms, job search and resume workshops, work experience and training opportunities, and individualized staff assistance to connect qualified job candidates with employers hiring in Kern County. In recognition of the creator of so much of the nation's strength, freedom, and leadership, the American worker, the Kern County Board of Supervisors do hereby proclaim the weeks of September 5th through the 11th, 2016 as Workforce Appreciation Week in Kern County. And this proclamation will help raise awareness of our workforce development program and all the connections they make between job seekers and employers. And so I'm going to present this to Teresa Hitchcock, and we'll ask if she wants to add anything. And there's a bunch of folks behind me from various partners with ETR throughout the county, so I'll let her introduce them as well. Thank you so much, Teresa, for everything you guys do to help folks in Kern County find jobs.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Scrivener, members of the board. I do have a number of folks behind me. That's because the America's Job Centers of California actually would not be possible without a number of partners. So I have Corinne Knickerberg with Kern High School District, Pam Hollywell with Department of Human Services, Nathan Gutierrez from my staff, he's a staff analyst. I've got Candy Getman with my staff as well. She's one of our deputy directors for client services, and Brandon Evans with Department of Human Services, Bill Stevenson, who's Deputy Director for Administration, and Aaron Ellis, who is the Deputy Director for Client Services. It takes a village to prepare our workforce, and so I think in addition to recognizing the folks who have made our country great, from the folks who put food on our table to the people who put fuel in our cars, and also the people who are designing the innovations of today that will bolster our economy in the future. As we look forward to the Labor Day holiday, this is really an everyman's holiday. This is a time to celebrate the American worker and the contributions that they've made to make our country the greatest place in the world to live. So I thank your board for recognizing our workforce and creating the Workforce Appreciation Week for Kern County this week, and I hope all of our workers have a great holiday weekend. Thanks.
Thanks, Teresa. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to do the next item 4 and 5 together. Number 4 is to proclaim September 2016 as National Suicide Prevention Month in Kern County. Number 5 is proclaim September 2016 as Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery Month in Kern County. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion on both proclamations.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm going to be pretty brief. We have a couple of serious proclamations, and I know Mr. Walker is here and has a few words to say, and he also has some folks here with him that would like to speak. So I'm just going to read the proclamation and turn it over to Bill. The first one is a proclamation proclaiming National Suicide Prevention Month in Kern County, and it reads, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California has officially proclaimed September 2016 as National Suicide Prevention Month in Kern County, and this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairman Mick Gleason, dated today, August 30th, 2016. This is our effort to raise awareness of this problem and let people know that there's an alternative, there's help, there's people they can talk to. Mr. Walker? Doctor. Thank you. I wanted to call you Dr. Walker there for a second.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch, Chairman Gleason, members of the board. With me today is the Crisis Services Administrator, who's also going to do the light show for you, Robin Goodell, and Ellen Agert, who's the supervisor over our hotline. My brother actually died of a heart attack in 2010 while living in rural Tennessee. He started to have symptoms of the heart attack, got into the car with my sister-in-law. EMS doesn't go that far out in that part of Tennessee. And on the drive in, he shuddered, died, and she drove the rest of the way with him dead next to her until she could get him to a hospital. I'm going to use that and come back to that in a minute, but I want to now just kind of pivot and talk for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to give you kind of a Jeopardy test, which is I'm going to give you some answers, and then at the end we'll talk about what are the answers for. And so the answers are 12.3 minutes, home, family and loved ones, 43,000, 10th, 2nd, 4th, 1 for every 25, 50% or more, 39. So those answers were 12.3 minutes, home, family, loved ones, 43,000, 10th, 2nd, 4th, 1 for every 25, 50% or more, 39. Now I'm going to come back to that too, and now I just want to talk for a couple of minutes about what we do in suicide prevention. There's really 4 areas that we spend a lot of time on. First one is training. We provide small trainings, we provide evidence-based large trainings, we provide trainings to schools, to community groups about suicide prevention, intervention, and treatment. The second area that we provide a lot of services in is actually prevention. And in this area, Supervisor or Chairman Gleason, if you remember when you came in with the green tie, that's part of the Each Mind Matters campaign, and I gave one of those ties to Supervisor Perez when she came forward and we did our last proclamation. Each Mind Matters, know the signs for suicide. Maybe you've seen a sporting event and all of a sudden something came on a commercial about suicide prevention, and you thought, wow, where'd that come from? That's part of the campaign, and so we have campaigns that reach out to the schools, to the colleges, and all the different events to do prevention. The next area that we work in is the area of actual treatment. That includes like our hotline that Ellen runs. It includes a 24/7 hotline that is AAS, American Association for Suicide Prevention, certified. The last area is postvention. Postvention means that someone has actually killed themselves. Ellen actually has published a document that has been accepted both at the state and national level, where we go out with her volunteers to actually go to families that have lost a loved one to try to help them start to bridge back and heal over what's happened to them. There's a slide up here that shows you some of the events that are going on for September as we celebrate life. And I want to really direct towards 2 things. On that slide, there is a, I'm having trouble reading it from here, but Kevin Hines, I've seen this guy talk. I've seen him present. He jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge but did not die, and he has a powerful message for people about recovery. The other also at the Dory Theater is a presentation by a retired highway patrolman that used to work that area of the Golden Gate Bridge. In the entire United States, the one place where there have been more suicides than any other place is the Golden Gate Bridge. And so those are two speakers that are doing part of our week. Now I want to come back and just give you what the test was. 12.3 minutes. There's one death by suicide in the United States every 12.3 minutes. Home. The most common place for a suicide to occur is the home. Family or loved ones. This is the person who most commonly finds the body. In 2014, there were 43,000 deaths by suicide. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. By the way, homicide ranks 17th. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for our adolescents. Let me repeat that. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for our adolescents. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death, suicide, 1 in every 25 suicide attempts, there is 25 attempts for every 1 completed suicide at a minimum. 50% or more of the individuals who commit suicide are under the influence, usually alcohol, which is why substance abuse, which we're celebrating recovery today, is also so important. And 39 years ago, I was 17 years old, and I started my career as a volunteer on a suicide prevention hotline. Now, why did I even mention my brother who died of a heart attack? My brother had turned 52 2 weeks before his death. He had a physical, his annual physical. They took some blood work, but they didn't do a treadmill test or many other simple tests that we probably should do for people once they reach a certain age. And if they did, they probably would have prevented his heart attack because they would have seen that he had some problems. The next thing that we're moving into, and the last thing I'll say to you, is there's an initiative called Zero Suicides, and that initiative is about trying to eradicate suicide as a health concern, as a problem for us, by helping people and knowing what the signs are and moving in that direction. And that's the next launch of the mental health department in this area, on top of all the other things, is to move to a direction called Zero Suicide. So I want to thank you. For me, this is a more subdued proclamation. It's not the feel-good story, but it really is the best outcomes when we're able to intervene in suicide prevention. So thank you.
Sorry. Oh, this is for you. I'm presenting this to you, Bill.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to present the next one and present that to Bill as well, and he'll have some comments. As he mentioned, alcohol sometimes, but oftentimes plays a part in a suicide. So we are proclaiming with this proclamation, and I'll read it, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed September 2016 as Alcohol and Drug Addiction Recovery Month in Kern County. And this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chairman Mick Gleason, and it's dated today, August 30th, 2016. I'm going to give this to Bill and let him make a comment or two and introduce his people he'd like. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Chairman. And this time I'm going to be very brief because I am going to turn it over to Allison Burrows, who's our outstanding substance use disorder administrator. And let me turn it over to Allison.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Couch, members of the board. So this is more of a celebratory proclamation, so I'm very pleased to be here today to talk about Recovery Month in Kern County. Recovery Month is an annual celebration. It's sponsored each September by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. It promotes the societal benefits of prevention, treatment, and recovery for substance use disorders, and celebrates people in recovery, lauding the contributions of treatment and service providers, and promotes the message that recovery in all its forms as possible. As we hear about the national opioid crisis and the impact of methamphetamine and other substances in our own community, we can often feel overwhelmed and lose hope. But Kern County has a very large network of providers committed to helping those struggling with addiction. With a focus on evidence-based practices, the service system includes residential treatment, outpatient services, medication-assisted treatment, DUI programs, and much more. Our services range from in-custody treatment at Leardo to full-service clinics in outlying communities. And our service providers remain vigilant and dedicated to the recovery process. In the spirit of this year's theme, Our Families, Our Stories, Our Recovery, on Saturday, September 10th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., local treatment providers will host a recovery resource fair at 2000 Baker Street, and the flyer is up there on there. This event will honor individuals in recovery and their families. It will host representatives from many local resource agencies, include fun family activities, and provide an opportunity to hear inspiring stories of recovery. On behalf of individuals in recovery, their families, and local treatment providers, I want to thank you guys for recognizing September as Recovery Month in Kern County. Thank you.
Moving presentation, Mr. Walker, thank you very much. Now it's time for public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board in any manner not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask questions for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct the staff to replace the matter of business on a future agenda. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes. Does anybody want to take advantage of this? Yes, sir. Come on down.
Thank you, board and all districts, respectfully. My name is E.A. Rudy Gonzalez. In 2003-2004, I was seated All-American #1 in the United States of America through the grace of our Lord and Savior. Currently, I'm in the works with Golden Boy in bringing boxing to Bakersfield. My request is to have a confirmed email. AEG, which through the hard work of our board and our wonderful mayor, brought in American Entertainment Group, which is a huge conglomerate in itself, Fortune 50 in its own right. We are currently in the process of bringing them two all together. I've had difficulty with my email trying to acquire this business for, and at Mr. Tandy's request, and they have asked if I can possibly get an email a little bit more private, quite a bit more private. Also, too, if there's any way I can possibly state for the record also to our veteran, I just wanted to say, I wrote a treatment plan. I'm a former senior supervisor counseling for Ebony and CSO also. My treatment plan went into effect. I did a presentation in Santa Maria to Mayor Flores. She's a Republican in Democratic County, and she is wonderful. She let me do a presentation for Kiwanis Club. I want to invite everybody on October 13th, my son's birthday. We'll be having an event at Stramler Park, so please include all veterans for the reintegration home. Our idea was to reintegrate. It takes 8 to 10 months to deploy, so I thought it should take that long to come back in. And so they put them in the House for Heroes and Homes for Vets. I want to thank the historian library, Beale Library. I want to thank Bakersfield College and Cal State University of Bakersfield, and kudos to all their city representatives that took the time. They were so patient in dealing with this matter. I was inspired by Margaret Warren, who wrote the healthcare reform here in Kern County, Earl Warren's late stepdaughter. Blessed be her spirit. So again, in regards to receiving this email, it would allow business to be a lot more fluid and efficient. Again, my service writing is, I'm still affiliated with Golden Boy as a liaison and bringing in talent to Bakersfield. I understand also, too, I have an agenda in regards to, at the request of the social networks. They had petitioned to see if possibly to allow the school kids from 3 to 4 to have access, 2 to 4, pardon, access to their computers. That would solidify and restrict a lot of the things that may have seemed illicit. It allowed the city a little bit more opportunity to, well, maybe at the next event. But I thank you very much for hearing my petition. This is the first time I ever spoke. I watch you guys on TV all the time. You guys are great. Go Bakersfield.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. From my number 1 CD.
Thank you, sir.
It's a privilege.
Fire Chief, I understand you have a comment for public presentations.
Yes, sir. Chairman Gleason, members of the board, I'd like to give your board and the public an update on the fires that are occurring in Kern County, and then an update on our continued recovery efforts for the Erskine fire. The largest fire continues to be the Cedar Fire. It is over 29,000 acres. It grew nearly 100 acres overnight, but it's still remaining in our control lines. 60% contained, and crews continue to work day and night to make final containment, which is estimated to be September 10th. Cost to date, $42 million in suppression cost. The next few days will be a challenge for us as a wind event comes in. Over 2,000 firefighters remain on scene, and hopefully we get through the wind event and are able to keep the fire in the box that we've built, and after the wind event, we will have better containment and start releasing resources. There are no recommended evacuations in Kern County at this time, although there still remains precautionary evacuations. And that's just a notification to the public that they may have to evacuate if the fire picks up in intensity or is driven by the wind in a different direction. We want to make sure everybody is on their toes, ready to go, because this is a very dynamic situation. Last Friday, we had the range fire that broke out in just below Bear Valley. That challenged us as fire moved up the mountain into the Bear Valley community. We were able to contain that fire at 516 acres. It's now 100% contained and in patrol status. That means our local fire station personnel are going out there and making sure all the hot spots are under control. And it didn't end there. Saturday, we had the Havilah fire, which is now 100% contained and burned 304 acres. We got lucky on that one because we were able to get resources from the Cedar fire instantly to the Havilah fire, and we're able to contain that one. So we did get lucky. Cost to contain that fire was $1.8 million. The Kern County Fire Department's local fire station out of Paiute is working that in patrol status along with one of our hand crews to make sure that that fire remains in the control box. So it's been a challenging summer, but the last few days have been challenging with 3 major fires that were burning in Kern County. A lot of resources from throughout the state have responded into Kern County to assist us with the control efforts. Another mention for the Sheriff's Department, as we have these major fires, the evacuations are absolutely critical. The public information that we've been getting out there and the Sheriff's Department getting the evacuations, it saves people's lives. And just if there's any good that comes out of the bad, our Ready Kern notifications play a key role in the evacuations, and the people are paying attention. During the Cedar fire, we had 466 new registrations for Ready Kern, the Range fire 191, and the Havilah fire 82. So those people are now registered to receive that critical information when we pull the trigger to evacuate, which ultimately saves people's lives and lets the fire department get in there and extinguish the fire. And it also reduces the workload on the Sheriff's Department. They know people are evacuating and they've received the message. So fires continue to challenge us. Hopefully with a slight cooling off period, we'll have reduced initial attack and we can finish containing the Cedar fire and put that one to bed. For the Erskine fire, county staff continues to work on the recovery efforts. The big project remains debris removal, and we encourage everybody to sign up for the free debris removal. We want everybody to go to the SBA office, Small Business Administration office, to see if they qualify for loans. And that's important as we move forward with our MHU project. County staff continues to work with the California Office of Emergency Services to work on bringing housing to Kern County for these people who are totally devastated and unable to recover. We are working through the process to get the MHU units to Kern County, and then the process to get them on the home site so people can recover from this devastating fire and move on with their lives. We have meetings scheduled this week as we continue continue to work on this rather complex project, but I'm 100% confident that we'll be able to get through it and move on with the recovery efforts in the Kern River Valley. That concludes my presentation. Available to answer any questions on the many fires and the recovery efforts in the Kern River Valley.
Thanks, Chief. I got a couple for you. $42 million for the Cedar Fire, $1.8 million for Havilah. Where are we getting this money?
Chairman Gleason, the Cedar Fire is nearly 100% federal land, U.S. Forest Service, and they will be paying a bulk of the bill. We also received an FMAG grant for Tulare and Kern County on that pays 75% of local government cost. So out-of-pocket expenses should be minimal.
How about FMAG for the Havilah Fire? Are we going to get FMAG for that one?
Chairman Gleason, no, we did not apply for an FMAG for the Havilah Fire.
Is that because of the size of the acreage or the cost to put it out?
Combination of factors, Supervisor Gleason. The structure threat plays a main role in receiving a fire management assistance grant. Also critical infrastructure such as power lines. This was just a typical wildland fire, even though there were structures threatened. They did not meet the threshold where FEMA would grant a fire management assistance grant. As with any of these fires, the Kern County Fire Department activates our Department Operations Center early on in the incident, not only to help manage the fire, but to make sure our fire stations get restaffed and we're ready for any other emergency. But we also begin the FMAG process if we do have structures threatened. The FMAG would move to California Office of Emergency Services, where discussions are made if it meets the minimum thresholds, and then it would be pushed to FEMA. The Havilah Fire did not meet those thresholds.
Thanks. I want to commend, wrapping up my comments about the fires, Cedar and the Havilah Fire, I want to commend Bill Steers. He's done it. I was up at Kernville on Saturday night, and he was giving a presentation. I think it was Friday, Saturday night, something. And he just was really a calming influence, a good communicator, described the situation, knew what he was talking about, and instilled a lot more confidence in the people of Kernville and our fire department. So pass on my congrats to him doing a good job.
Yes, sir.
As far as Erskine, there was a big article in the paper, sign up or pay up. Could you explain that, what really we're doing with that, with the debris removal and how that's all working?
Chairman Gleason, members of the board, debris removal is being managed by the California Office of Emergency Services. It's free. We just need people to sign up so we can enter their property and remove all the hazardous debris. And we will be discussing that in the afternoon session.
Right. And it's kind of misleading because it says either sign up or pay up, and that's really not what we're saying. We're saying if you sign up, you get it free. But we're having difficulty getting, I think, 10 to 15 at least people whose homes were in trust, and the owners are difficult to find. It's very difficult to find and get a hold of everybody to make sure they get a chance to sign up. So there may be trailers that don't sign up, but for a year or two when they find out. So, and we're going to be working with those people to make sure that they get free debris cleanup. Is that correct, Georgiana? Did I say that correctly?
Go.
There is a
Turn your mic on.
There is a deadline to sign up for the state program, and right now that deadline is September 26th. So once that deadline is reached and the crews on site now doing the debris removal are done and leave, the project is over.
It's over.
It's over. So if someone had not gotten in time to get their property cleaned up, it then falls to their responsibility. The state is not coming back.
Georgiana, how many people have not signed up out of the 284 homes?
I believe the last update I heard, and this is under the Public Works Department, so I'm just giving you secondhand, was there were about 70 that had not, and then a letter was sent, and they had 30 responses come in. So my understanding is that there were about 40, but that may have changed since last week.
It's difficult to get all these people.
Chairman Gleason, Chief Deputy County Counsel Gurijo Tecalsa can supplement her answer if you would like.
Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you indicated that there are some people having difficulties because of certain specific kinds of challenges, and I've been in communication with Georgiana Armstrong and the Department of Emergency Services to work with those folks to get them qualified for the right of entry and for the debris removal. We had one individual who had a trust issue. We resolved that, I think. We had another individual who had the property but was paying the property taxes and had some challenges presenting certain documentation. We believe we've addressed that. So as these case-by-case elements come up, the bottom line is we want people to be able to sign up, and so we're helping them overcome the logistical hurdles that may be presented.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thanks for clarifying. One comment. And there's 71 homes. I don't want to address this because we're in public comment. We're supposed to briefly be talking here. But I do want to tell anybody who's watching that we are diligently working these 71 manufactured homes and trying to make determinations on how, who, when, where. It's a very complex problem that it sounds like it's a quick fix, but it's really not, because we're trying to satisfy an emergent need of people who need stuff today, and at the same time not create a disaster for ourselves 3 to 5 years down the road. Any closing comments on that, Chief or Ms. Armstrong?
We are continuing to work on that process, and County Council and the legal counsel for the state are working on an agreement right now, which would be brought back to your board. And at that time, we would also present to your board the tactical implementation of that plan, the criteria for selection, the whole package, and upon your board's approval, could move into field-level implementation. So this is a high-level project with a lot of focus from both the county and the state.
Thank you, Ms. Armstrong. Any other comments? Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief, besides Kern County, where else in California are our personnel being deployed to help fight fires?
Supervisor Maggard, your Kern County firefighters are on the front line on several fires, the major fires, the largest being the Sobranos. They're also on the chimney fire in San Luis County, and I can tell you the Kern County Fire Department bulldozers put a fire break around Hearst Castle to help save that. The other fires include the Ray Fire in Santa Barbara County. Incident management staff are managing that large fire, but a lot of firefighters are staying home because the home front's burning.
I was proud to see, I was riding last weekend over at the coast and up by Hearst Castle. I was proud to see many fire trucks are whizzing by on the highway there, but I was proud to see a Kern County fire vehicle go past me southbound, going somewhere. So just glad to hear our guys are out there and doing a good job for other people.
And to tag on to your comments, Supervisor Maggard, the system in California works. The California Fire Service, we all help everybody, and as orders come in, we respond throughout the state. And if you've looked around Kern County, you'll notice that there's fire departments representing local governments, U.S. Forest Service, CAL FIRE, even out-of-state U.S. Forest Service firefighters are in Kern County working right now. On the range fire in Bear Valley, the San Francisco Fire Department was on the front lines working to contain that fire. So it is truly a mutual aid system where it comes together to protect our citizens and protect our communities.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else for public presentations?
David Fluhart, Havilah, 1st District. kind of going off of what the fire chief had said about the expenses and everything. The Havilah fire, I guess, was $1.8 million for 350 acres, and I'll tell you what, it was awesome to watch those airplanes bomb the hell out of that fire. I mean, literally, there was 7 planes at one time and 5 helicopters, and they didn't stop, and by the sunset, it was pretty well knocked out, and it was an awesome, just, I don't know, I was watching it from our house, and it was really nice to see, and since I come up here all the time, I'd better say thank you to the fire chief and the whole process. I got everybody together and did a wonderful job on that fire. And if they didn't do it, it'd grown bigger, and I remember 5 years ago they had one fire, and it ended up being like 120,000 acres in the middle of nowhere, and it costed a lot of money. So they, like he said, they diverted all the attention from the Cedar fire and beat it up pretty quickly. And that's all I have to say, and thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you. Anyone else? Board member announcements. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you. I have a referral I'd like to make. We had a discussion last week during the budget adoption about the Sheriff's Academy and those attending the Sheriff's Academy, and that they were on the county payroll. And I'd like, whether it's the Sheriff's Department, County Council, Human Resources, to take a look at, as opposed to putting the people on the payroll, I'd like you to look at paying people a stipend in the form of a student loan, which would avoid payroll taxes. It would actually provide us with a way of retaining them because they would owe. It would be a loan that they would be taking out each month. It would be accruing. So I think that would accomplish what we were discussing about. And there may be other ways to do that, but I wanted to ask if you could look into that and report back to us. Does that need a motion, or can I just ask you for that information?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, it doesn't need a motion. We will follow up on it. I thank you for your suggestion. I think it's very creative, and I'm looking forward to working with the Sheriff's Department and HR and the CAO on it.
I'm sorry, the clerk was saying something to me, and I don't know what it was. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Supervisor Couch. If you want that referral on the referral log, then it would require a motion. If it is simply a request to departments to bring back that information, then it would not require a vote.
Let's make it a referral so I don't forget about it.
Okay.
Thank you. So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Brings us to item number 12, proposed contract number 16017 with Griffith Company for Meadowfield Airport runway 12 left, 30 right rehabilitation phase 2 project in an amount not to exceed $13,499,431.
This would be Brian's matter. I don't know anything about it, but I thought it was going to continue.
Mr. Fluhart, you pulled it off?
Yep.
Why?
Why? David Fluhart, 1st District, Havilah. Why did I pull this off? You know, I'm a real big supporter of the airports, and about a month ago I gave you some ideas of where I think the airport's going. And you know, I think the airport's our solution, or a really helpful, supportive aspect to our budget woes. You know, we're working on trying to reduce expenditures, but we're going to start looking at the revenue side of the budget. And of course, this is government, which means revenue usually equals, you know, I don't know, taxes, fines, fees, permits, whole bunch of paperwork. But getting to the airport, you know, a month ago I said that we'd be flying in a whole bunch of medical marijuana from Mexico and flying a whole bunch of people back and forth as migration to the tune of 1.5 million people. And to connect with that idea, you know, Trump's going to have his big immigration or migration speech pivot type thing tomorrow in Arizona, and I would think that when he does this little pivot, he's going to include Bakersfield. He's going to include the possibilities that we have with that federal port of entry permit. And, you know, I support the airports and everything that's going on. And I just wanted to call it out and hopefully not make such a short meeting. All right, thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Can you stand by for a second? Because I'm going to take the prerogative here and talk about item number 42 that you also asked to have pulled off for consent and discuss that. Request to accept donation of $20,000 from the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association, Los Angeles Center for Fire Department Public Education.
Oh, you want me to talk to you about that right now?
Yes.
First of all, it's a $20,000 donation. Sometimes, you know, in the past, we've had Southern California Edison for $5,000 or this group for less and less and less. But this is $20,000, and you know, to stop for a second and recognize where we're coming from, this entity has absolutely probably nothing to do with Kern County, and here they are giving $20,000. I know it sounds kind of crazy, the Supreme Master, Ching Hai, I don't know. But if you look at it on the internet and you Wikipedia the organization, they're doing some good things out there. And like literally for $20,000, I think we could spend 2 minutes on it. You know, and yeah, we can. Just 5 minutes ago, you asked where we're going to get that money from, to the fire chief. And guess what? At some point, you can say, you know, some of it's contributions, and, you know, I don't know. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Fire chief.
Chairman Gleason, members of the board, this donation, unsolicited, it started with a phone call, and the individuals wanted to make a donation to the Kern County Fire Department in the amount of $20,000. We have a crucial project that we've been working on, and that's smoke alarms for deaf people. Anybody that can hear knows the smoke alarms go off. It's a loud noise, and it shocks you, and it wakes you up in the middle of the night, and that's what we use to get people out. People who can't hear that, we have to use a different mechanism. We're going to take this money and focus on that segment of our community to make sure that they are alerted during a fire and they're able to get out of their house. So we're going to put this money to use to buy smoke alarms for our deaf community.
Thanks, sir. We're going to have two different votes on items 12 and items 42. Item 12 is continued till Tuesday, September 13th, so we'll have further discussion. We'll give Mr. Fluhat ample opportunity to connect with you and have a conversation there. And thank you, Chief, for your answer on 42. So what I'd like to do now is have a vote on item 12, proposed contract 16017 with Griffith Company for Meadowsfield Airport runway 12 left, 30 right rehabilitation, continued to Tuesday, September 13th, 2016 at 9 a.m.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Let's have a vote on item number 42, request to accept donation of $20,000 from the Supreme Master Ching Hai International Association.
Motion approved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving through here. Brings us to item number 41. Fire Department, response to June 7, 2016 referral regarding the implementation of TRAX payroll system. Chief Marshal.
Chairman Gleason, members of the board, on June 7th, your board made a referral to the fire department to bring back our implementation progress for the TRAX payroll system. This is a result of an audit finding during our biannual audit by the auditor. One of the issues that we've had is importing our safety personnel, our firefighters, into the county's time-keeping system. We've been working diligently with the auditor staff, programming staff, to make this happen. So where we're at right now, actually, a lot of things have even happened since the board letter was written 2 weeks ago, but we have successfully populated our cost account management system with our time entry data. With this system populated, the Auditor Controller's Office was able to successfully upload the data from our cost account management system into TRAX for the last pay period. As we continue to work with that, trying to get it where it's perfect as we make the uploads, it's working now. Now the auditors, controllers, programming staff will write an interface to export to the TRAX time cards a file that can go into the county's payroll system, and the auditor, controllers, programming staff is writing a program that automates this, so we can just push one button and the entire payroll information for an entire pay period enters into the county's payroll system. Once we're able to get those programming issues resolved with the auditor controller staff, we'll run 2 parallel pay periods with the current system and the new system, make sure there's no other issues to address, and within the next reporting period, by the end of the year, we should be fully on tracks with all safety personnel. That concludes my report. We do have members of the Auditor Controller's Office in the audience that can answer any technical questions, but I can assure your board we're almost there. Therefore, it's recommended that your board receive and file this report.
Thank you, Chief. Let's open it up for public comment. Anyone in the public wishing to make comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the board for comment consideration. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you. I referred this several months ago to have you bring it back with the understanding that day was that it would be done by now. Still isn't. So what is a date certain by which you can come to us and tell us this thing is finished?
Supervisor Maggard, through the chair, we're almost there. We're uploading successfully. We have a couple programming issues that the auditor controller staff will be working on, and I'm sure that they can explain it more in detail. But we were able to successfully upload into the system. So we're almost there.
So will you have it done in 2 weeks? Will you have it done in a month? When will it be done?
Supervisor Maggard, through the chair, I would defer to the auditor staff on how fast they can finish the programming issues.
Ms. Bedard, would you mind giving us a sense of that? Good morning, Ms. Bedard. Appreciate you coming today to talk to us about it.
Good morning, Supervisor Maggard, members of the board. We would expect, based on the amount of testing that really needs to be done at this point, it's really more of a testing issue, and we want to make sure it's right before it actually gets uploaded. So certainly within the next 3 months, we would expect them to be fully implemented on TRAX.
Okay. I appreciate your working with the department. It isn't your, the department had to get aligned with you, not the other way around. So I appreciate your leadership in that. So 3 months would make it, can you come back to us by 1st of November with an assurance that you think that's enough time?
Supervisor Maggard, through the chair, yes.
Okay, very good. Then I would ask you to come back with another report to us by November 1st with the understanding that it'll be done by then and receive and file a report. Thank you, everyone, for your help.
Can I just make a point? Ms. Bedard, you said 3 months? Yes. So that brings us to September, October, 1st of December. Is that correct? Is that what we're talking about?
December 1st works for me.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Maggard, did you make a motion?
Yes.
Look for a second. Cast your votes.
Motion is approved, all ayes.
Thank you, Chief. That brings us to item number 62 of the Sheriff's Department. Public hearing to adopt resolution increasing vehicle registration fee from $1 to $2. With us is Commander Tyson Davis. Commander.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Morning.
On August 9th, we had the public hearing initiated for this subject. On that date, your board directed me to meet with members of Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government, as well as the Kern Taxpayers Association. I met with them along with staff from the CAO's office on August 24th. We were able to answer all of their concerns and questions. We provided them with answers in writing. I believe the CAO's office has also provided those to each of you on the board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Can we grab a seat, or maybe we will? Let's go to the public for public comment. Anybody in the public wishing to make comment on this issue? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for comment and consideration.
I move staff's recommendation.
I'll second that. I want to thank the Sheriff's Department and the CEO's office for facilitating that discussion. Also to Kern Citizens and Kern Tax for raising the questions. Appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Motion is approved. All ayes.
Great. Brings us to the end of this morning's session, and I need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
So moved.